What's up, guys? Welcome back to Picture Breakdown. This is my breakdown of What If Episode 8, What If Ultron won? I'm going to be going through this episode shot by shot, featuring visual details, hidden references, as well as any background information that you might need to know. But first, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and notification bell to be notified for every future What If episode breakdown. Spoiler warning for What If Episode 8. Alright, so we start off with Natasha and Clint fighting off some Ultron sentries, and we see Clint do a cool new way of shooting his arrows that I don't think we've ever seen him do before. We then see him disappear behind a cloak of some kind, rip off of Harry Potter, but I do really think that it could be some sort of wearable form of the tech that they use to cloak the Quinjets and the helicarriers. Uatu the Watcher explains why this universe is different from our original universe. He says that because the Avengers never successfully stole the Cradle to create Vision, Ultron was able to transfer his consciousness into the Vision body. And while Uatu is explaining that, it shows a screen that says in Korean, "Upload self-awareness stream." Thanos portals to Earth, somehow with all 5 out of 6 Infinity Stones, which I'm not sure is a mistake or what, because he would have had to destroy Xandar for the Power Stone, which we later see Xandar is completely intact. He would have also had to sacrifice Gamora to get the Soul Stone, which we also later see Gamora's alive in this universe. And then later, Ultravision slices Thanos in half with the Mind Stone, which again, I find really hard to believe, but then again, this is an animated show, so they can pretty much just do whatever they want. Ultravision then gets the Infinity Stones and begins his conquest across the universe and says,
"Bring about peace in our time,"
which is a reference to the line that Tony and Ultron both say in Age of Ultron.
Peace in our time.
Peace in our time.
Ultron then goes to planet after planet, completely demolishing them, and when he gets to Xandar, Captain Marvel says,
"Listen, Skynet, I've seen the Killer Robot movie, and I gotta say, I really don't think it needs a sequel."
Skynet obviously being the company in Terminator creating the robots against mankind. Natasha and Clint then look through the KGB files to try to find Zola, and Natasha finds the Red Guardian shield and puts it on. She could be keeping this because she was actually raised by the Red Guardian, and it could be a little memento for her by remembering the people that she's lost. Nat and Clint then find the file for Arnim Zola, and it leads them to Siberia, the place where Captain America's Civil War ended up, and they boot up the computer that has Zola's consciousness in it, and he says,
"Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Romanov, Natalia Alyanovna, Barton Clinton Francis. I imagine you have many questions, Fräulein, about who and what and how I am."
Not really. I've actually met you before. Well, a copy of you.
This is a reference to the time Steve and Nat found Zola at Camp Lehigh back in Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Rogers, Stephen, born 1918. Romanov, Natalia Alyanovna, born 1984.
Some kind of recording.
I am not a recording, Fräulein.
Clint uploads Zola into one of the Ultron sentries, and they back into the bunker that Zemo was in during Civil War that can
withstand the launch blast of UR-100 rockets.
The sentries then break through the bunker, and when Nat and Clint are climbing up, he falls off, and she catches him, but then he lets go, mirroring the scene in Endgame where Natasha did the same thing. Ultravision breaks into the place where Uatu is, and they begin to fight. While they're fighting, though, there's a couple of frames when Ultravision's face is visible, and it looks eerily similar to what King the Conqueror looked like in the comics. And then later, when Ultravision goes to eat the galaxy, he really reminds me of Galactus. This is super weird, and maybe since we're already getting King the Conqueror into the MCU, it could be saying that maybe we're getting Galactus soon. Uatu gets knocked into a timeline where Steve Rogers, Captain America, was made President of the United States. This actually happened in a Marvel Ultimates comic timeline. We then see a guy wearing a pineapple t-shirt. We actually saw this guy in the last episode of What If in Vegas when Thor started his party. Ultravision then starts punching Uatu, changing the timelines, and they go from the one where Cap's the president to Wakanda, then medieval, then Skrulls, and then finally what looks like it could be Jotunheim, the place where the Frost Giants live. He then says,
"The boundaries of the multiverse are irrelevant to beings like you and me."
The beings Ultravision is talking about are what are described in the comics as Nexus beings. So we have one episode left of season 1 of What If, and it looks like it's going to be Uatu gathering a bunch of heroes from across the multiverse to try to beat Ultravision. I originally thought that they might somehow bring Ultravision to the TVA, whereas Infinity Stones wouldn't work, but then I realized that the way they're probably going to end up beating him is through the Zola AI. The reason I do think this is because Clint sacrificed himself just so that Nat could get away with Zola, and I don't think Marvel would dare make his death in vain, when it could be the way to stop the big bad of the series. Sheesh, guys, this episode was intense. The moon necessarily wasn't as dark as some of the other episodes we've gotten this season, most notably like 3, 4, and 5, but it was definitely not even close to as lighthearted as last week's episode. I was, however, a little bit disappointed that there were some continuity errors, like the whole things with the Infinity Stones, but I guess they can kind of write it off as it's a multiverse and it's an animated show, so anything can happen. But we did, however, get some pretty sick action between Uatu and Ultravision, as well as Nat and Clint, and that was pretty well done. I like the way they brought back Arnim Zola, seeing that we haven't seen him a while in any Marvel installments, and he's a really great character. I think apart from the continuity errors, I love this episode, but let me know down in the comments what you thought. But this has been my breakdown of What If Episode 8. But before you do go, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified for the future What If episode breakdown. If you did enjoy this week's breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, it's super helpful for the channel. And if you know someone who's watching What If, as always, please consider sharing this with them. Put down any questions or comments and let me know how you think they're going to beat Ultravision. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end, and I will see you guys in my next breakdown.
And yet, what the hell is this? Here, it's right there. The answer is right there.
Pointless.
Wait. What do you...